Listening to BearatNight podcast with your host, Jurassic Parker.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages and non-binary, I'd like to get to you. This is the BearatNight podcast. I'm your host, Dominic, that guy with all the toys in the street. I'm that guy, I'm him. And we are here today with a very, very, very special guest. This is somebody that I've been, oh my God, I'm trying to fanboy, not trying to fanboy too much right now, but we have him here, and this guy I've seen do so many different works, and I've been like championing him, and like every time I see his work, I know, okay, I'm not sure about this project or anything, but as soon as I see him, I'm like, oh, he's here. Oh, okay, I'm gonna stick around. I'll stick around. Let's see what happens. If he's in this project, I'm gonna watch. Okay. So, no, you know what? He's played GoldFace, if you know that guy from, The Flash, the most notable, it's one of my favorite characters on the show. Also, he played like Thanos, I guess, one time, he was that. And also my favorite character of all, Cenrari 7, for Hunter Prey. That's one of my favorites, my personal favorites. Cenrari 7. He does everything. He's a voice actor, stuntman, just actor. He's just that guy. He's the shit. So, no other than Damion Poitier. Sir, thank you so much for hopping on. It's a long time coming, but we here, and I'm so happy. I'm so happy to have you.
You've been trying to get me on for a long time, and just life has just been really uncooperative. So I appreciate your patience with me, and just kept moving it, kept pushing it, and moving around. So
it's fine. I said before we went on, like you're a busy person. You're an important person, so you VIP. So I get that you have stuff to do, and you had the writer's strike at the time too. So it's like I get all that. So it's no biggie. So it's like somehow, some way we'll get there. So it's just like all about being patient and stuff. So. It's fine. And I appreciate you taking the time out right now to be here on the show. So, man, let me just start by saying, bro, I love your work. I love what you do. It's very far between where, like, I have a thing for my big guys. Like you and Michael Clark Duncan and the Ving Rhames and all those, that do all these type of works and y'all bring them out and. Y'all just like you can do the stereotypical stuff,
right?
But you go above and beyond to make it different, to stand out, and like when you get done watching that project or that movie or whatever, you're like, who was that guy over there though? It was all right, but that guy in that part in that scene was really funny. That guy was funny. I like that. You've managed to do that, and. What is that? I was watching Hollywood Shuffle, which is a great movie. Hollywood Shuffle, Robert Townsend.
Oh, okay, just general, right. Okay, yeah. Uh-huh.
And it had the scene with playing the thugs and everything.
Right. And
you, like many others, you had to play the thugs and those type of guys. And it comes to the territory. And me being who I am, I'm a bouncer, security. I do all that, and I'm like, they had to do that, and just doing, just to play that role, or even do it in real life. I know Ving Rhames, Michael Clark Duncan was bouncer or doing security, and he ended up doing the parts of doing that, And I see that you've done that in the past. Was there any type of damn, they're not gonna take me serious. I want them to see more than this, or was it like I'm paying my dues?
It's a little bit of A, a little bit of B. One of the interesting things is I came through stunts, and coming from stunts into acting, because I was originally an actor, but when I came into the profession, it was stunts. So when I was trying to push back into acting, there was some difficulty with perception.
Yes.
Because being able to walk and talk is an anomaly in Hollywood, apparently, in the perception of Hollywood, which would be a better way to put it. So I had to convince people that I could walk and talk.
Right.
You know, and then being the size that I am, I'm big, but I'm not big.
Right.
So I'm too big to play the normal size guy, but not big enough to play the really big guy. So it's
right.
You got to find those spaces where you fit in and make it work. So
that's very interesting. And you say, especially since you said that you came from stunts, and I'm a big fan of like the behind the scenes stuff and learning all the things that goes on. Like, we love the stars and stuff, but how do you do this? How do you do that? I mean, like, who's the people behind the scenes? Like, I'm always easily to tell, oh, that's a stunt person right there. I can tell. And sometimes I can figure out which stunt person is after a while, like, you know. But how did you get into stunt work? That's such a amazing, crazy field, you know, to get yourself in.
Well, I moved to, I grew up in Massachusetts. I was born in Philly, grew up in Massachusetts, and then I moved to Florida.
Oh.
Yeah. And so when I moved to Florida, when I was in Massachusetts, I started training martial arts. I wanted to do action movies.
Right. Okay.
You know, so you want to do action movies, learn some martial arts. So we got down to Florida, and there were some low-budget martial arts movies being done in Florida at the time, and they had an open call for martial artists to just come and be a part of the film. So I went in an audition with my training partner. His name's Mark Terenzi. He's actually a pop star in Germany now. But so we trained together, and we went in, we did the audition, and they just hadn't seen a lot of guys my size that moved like I did. So they took down my information and kept it, and, you know, we did a few more workshops with them. And then the people who were trying to do the movies were also, like, a lot of them were stuntmen and things like that, you know, all multi-hyphenates. And they actually ended up running into, his name was Glenn Wilder, and he's one of the founders of Stunts Unlimited. Like, you know, an incredibly renowned, well-known, amazing stunt guy. And he was opening up a show called Sheena, Queen of the Jungle. And the thing about Florida at the time was there were 5 black stunt guys in Florida at the time. So they took me over to his house. Yeah, 5, literally. So they took me over to his house, and we talked things like that. And he said, you know, can you do? He's like, you stage fight? And I'm like, yeah. You know, he's like, you think you can? And he said, well, let me see you take it. So he threw a couple punches at me. See how I took him? And he's like, you want to be a stuntman? And I said, yes, sir. And he goes, you're working in September.
Wow.
Yep.
That was it.
And that was, I think that was like June or July. Wow. And then September, got the call. I was on set. I did 2 seasons of Sheena.
Yeah.
You know, and then afterwards, when Sheena went away, I did like 1 or 2. I did a movie in Miami, and then work just wasn't happening down there. And I was like, well, I want to act, and there's not much going on down here. And don't get me wrong, I was working at, you know, theme parks and doing stuff and all that other stuff. But I was like, there's not much going on down here professionally for acting. I got this set card. Why not do this in LA?
Mm-hmm.
So I just got my stuff together, popped out to LA. You know, still in the LA area, and got immediately involved with the stunt crews and things like that, because some of the guys that I knew from Florida had come out here, and actually a couple of the guys that I auditioned for, that initial audition, have been out here for years.
Oh.
So yeah, a guy, Michael Lee, he's now a stunt coordinator himself, big time rigger, like one of the guys that he calls I go. You know what I mean? It's a certain people you just trust. You just know that. And I've known him for, you know, over 20 years, like great friend. But I came out here, and he brought me in and just showed me how to do everything. Like the works, introduced me to the right people, got everybody knowing who I was and knowing what I was capable of, and really just, you know, brought me through the town and got me where I needed to be to start really doing this professionally. So then many, many years of stunts, because, you know, it's a family. You know, there's amazing stunt men and amazing stunt women, and when they bring you in and when they see you can do the thing, you know, a lot of bonds form through trauma. It's not quite as traumatic as beating the mess out of each other and not hurting each other. Yes. You know? So you become really tight as a stunt community very quickly. We're all very close. We're all very, you know, it's so. I did that for a great many years, and you know, I was like, okay, that's good. I came out here to do the acting thing, so I need to push it. Every time I started pushing the acting thing, something fantastic for stunts would happen. So it's been a back and forth battle of trying to appreciate and honor those who brought me in, the family that brought me in, but at the same time push towards the place I want to be.
Wow, that's amazing. Like something that you fell into and you fall in love with, you kind of fell into it. Yeah, like literally.
I went training, and then the opportunity came, and I went for it.
How much training does it take to go into being a stunt performer?
Well, really, it depends on what you intend to do, because your best bet, like for any new stunt person, we tell them pick one physical skill in America.
Okay.
Overseas is different. In America, pick one physical skill and become excellent.
Okay.
So I know people have come in through jet skiing. I know people who have come in through, scuba diving. I know people who have come in through their ability to, motocross.
Right.
Like race car drivers, the gamut. As long as you have an expertise in a physical skill, that can get you through the door. A lot of martial artists, a lot of trickers, a lot of gymnasts, a lot of fall, things like that. That'll get you through the door. Once you get in the door and you prove that, you got the right attitude, you can handle the rupper scupper of it all, then especially they'll either train you up in other stuff, or you'll find a performer that you match up with well, and then you will train with that performer will tell you what's going on, and you'll find the people and train to be able to do, the next thing and the next thing and the next thing, and your skill level and your skill list will expand. Okay.
So like how accurate is that movie? Yeah. So how accurate is the Ryan Gosling movie?
They take their liberties because it's obviously you have to enhance, but it was the director, David Leitch, stunt guy, original stunt guy. So he kept it as real as he could within the narrative format. Of the story. But that's the life, man.
Wow. So you never had to do the crazy falls, like
Falling is not. My specialty was fighting.
Okay.
And like being tossed around on wires and just basically like for years I was the big guy they would call in when they needed some girl to beat up a dude.
Oh.
Years being the big guy that would come in and get beat up by girls.
So, because like you said, you're not too big. You're right in between.
Right. Also, I'm big enough to be intimidating, but not so big that it's and I can
move. What was the role that you think that brought you out to be like, oh, he could talk? Like, what was it?
There's been a variety. Like, I mean, obviously, the first time I really got to show off was GoldFace.
Okay, really? That was the word?
The time I really got to show off, yeah. Because think about it, I know you love Hunter Prey and it's fantastic, but you couldn't see my face.
Oh, and then you did Star Trek, and you
didn't see my face. Again, masked up. A lot of things. Masked up. So a lot of the things you saw me, I was masked up, or I give one or two lines.
Right.
You know what I mean? But in terms of being in a sustained thing, they were either so small that they didn't gain notice, or, like I wasn't speaking quite that much. I wasn't really showing a lot of ability to do. I wasn't really showing off the toolbox, as it were.
Right. I never thought about that. Yeah, and you've done a lot of like special effects works, the makeup work, and I love the makeup stuff. I love the behind the scenes. I just love it. What was like the longest? Like which effect was the longest to put on for you? Like,
well, the thing is, over the years, special effects have become more like tighter. It's become faster and more effective. The technology has advanced.
Right.
So, early on, like I think Hunter Prey was like a 3 to 4 hour process.
Wow.
Because it was a full head mask.
Yeah.
With all the fixings, and we were doing that. We were in like a really, really small. No, I guess we wouldn't call it small. It was a sizable, but it was a house in Mexico. And we get started like 4 a.m, and and you're hoping you have power, and you do it off the handheld lights and things like that. So that was probably one of the most arduous processes in terms of getting into special effects makeup. Everything else, like they pretty much have it down to about 2.5 hours.
Wow.
I haven't done a whole lot of full body stuff.
Okay.
Most of the time, and the full body stuff, that's a suit you put on.
Right.
So when you start getting into animatronics and the full body stuff, that's when you start getting into longer periods of time. So in terms of what I've been involved in, I think 4 hours is probably about the longest I've been in a chair that I can think of off the top of my head. Don't quote me on that one though, because it's possible I've been in longer.
Now,
Like
when you're done with the process, do you ever have you had an idea of how you wanted to be the character, or how to flow and how to move, and then it all okay, I gotta change it because now you feel a different way once you put everything on. It does give you a different feel, different outlook. Okay, maybe I should do this now.
Well, it's definitely once you're in, it does shift things.
Mm-hmm.
But you just what I try to do is I try to know where I'm coming from. I don't really worry about where I get to. I worry about where I'm coming from because then I will automatically adjust to what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
I'll automatically adjust what I'm doing to what I have to work with.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So where do you come from? What is the what's the core of how you are getting to where you want to go?
Mm-hmm.
What's your process, as it were? Once you get your process in, the example of your process becomes how you perform when it's all in and going.
Gotcha. Oh, wow, that's interesting. I love that you figure these things out with stuff within the makeup and everything. Now, my little story I have with the Hunter Prey. Okay. Now, at the time I was working third shift security, and I was trying to find stuff to watch, and I was able to find Prometheus and then Hunter Prey on YouTube, where I could download it. And I was like, because I had a little app, I could download this, I could watch this. Didn't know anything about Hunter Prey. It just I just saw the screen grab, that looks interesting. Saw a little cuts and saw a little bit, all right, I'll take it. I'll download it. I watched Prometheus that weekend. Okay, so I watched it once. I watched Hunter Prey about 8 more. After I watched Prometheus, okay, that's cool. Watch Prometheus, it's let me watch this again. Watch this again. Because it was just okay, it doesn't have the budget like the Prometheus. That's fine. But it has a whole lot more in there that I like. And it reminded me of so many other stories and movies I've watched in the past. I forget the name, was it the whole alien and the human aspect.
Enemy Mine?
Yes. Which is underrated. I liked the movie. I thought the movie was great. Honestly. So I'm surprised that people didn't like it at the time when it came out. But I did. I thought it, and it reminded me of that. But it also had that dope 80s feel where it's it was just a great story, and it was just one it wasn't a big thing, a big big production, but the makeup, the props, everything, the scenery, it's as long as you got a good story, and you got some good actors, you can do a lot. You can do a lot. You can just you could have put some actors in a room and just have them talk, and that's it.
Right.
That's it. So when I got to see your performance in that, I'm like, who the hell is this guy? Because I got to see it through the act, through the makeup.
Right.
And it's you was a hard ass at first, and then you was kind of but you disobeyed your captain, who was so it's okay, he's kind of a hero. But then he goes back to being when he's chasing after the guy, I don't know, maybe he's a jerk. Maybe the human is the good guy. Maybe you didn't know. You just didn't know how. But your performance with it, and then it's just a little computer. But you cared about a little computer, and I'm how the fuck does he make me care about this computer? How? You think about Claire, I'm it's a little thing. But he's you there? I thought I lost you. You did that. I was okay, this guy is good. I don't do the makeup, and then I had to know who you were. Okay, this guy's dope. Okay, and I'm why is he not more things? The makeup, it's so hard for certain people to bring out a performance in a lot of makeup.
Right.
And you did it. You do it, and you did it so well. And the mannerisms, and it's just you had the prosthetic teeth and all that. It's but you still pulled it off, man. How hot was it there? Because that's the thing. It made me thirsty just watching it.
Hot. We would shoot for 4 hours in the morning and then 4 hours in the evening.
Oh,
in the middle of the day, we had to stop. It was too hot to shoot.
Oh, it just made me hot every time I watch it.
It was really, and it was the mask, the Under Armour, the armor, the costume, the armor on top of it, the helmet when we were doing helmet scenes. Like we had it to the point where we were really working on, okay, do I need to put the makeup on? Is this just a helmet day? Things like that. We really tried to boil it down to make sure that I wasn't wearing more than I needed to wear for certain days. And then we moved things around a couple of days because it was like, okay, you know what? We'll put all these 4 scenes together. That way I'm just in a helmet that day. I don't actually have to put the makeup on. We'll do all these scenes together because, it's my face the whole day and we're not doing anything, with the helmet.
Right.
So it was just a lot of, just figuring it all out and just putting it together and things. And
go ahead.
And it was interesting because, that was my first starring role and that was one of my first times being really involved in an actual production as opposed to, oh, we should do this cool thing, like when you do we should do this cool thing and it follows through, you only get so far. When you're actually, when you're on the pavement, when you're shooting, when you're there with the camera, when you're dealing with all the technical difficulties and everything like that, then that's when you really find out what everybody's made of.
Right. Yeah, and I thought the whole team did an amazing job, honestly. Like the whole team, like I said, it didn't have a big budget. But I'm always a sucker for a person who has good camera work. Right. Camera work can do a whole lot. It can make a $5 set look like a $100 set. Like with the right camera. You get the right camera, right people, right setting. You're perfect.
Ed Gutentag. I remember the name of that was the cinematographer for that movie.
Yeah. In the like I said, the makeup was really well done. And like I said, I'm a sucker for makeup and all the creature effects and stuff. And like. I love the back and forth you guys had, and you wasn't even like next to each other. You're like going through comms, but you still didn't you get a oh, okay. You starting to understand a little bit more, and I think I had to put a couple people on to that movie. It's like, yo, you gotta watch, you gotta see this. Like I asked them here, take this, sit, let me give you this right quick. You're like, thank you later, But it's just, I have one of my best friends. He loved the movie after, so it's just one of those things. Like it's like I said, it's hot. How much weight did you lose in that? Not too much.
We did a good job of staying hydrated and just keeping together and moving. Yes, I mean I didn't really measure. I'm sure I lost a few pounds
because all everything.
Oh yeah, no, you were sweating out everything. Like there were no toxins in my body at the end of that shoot. Everything got sweated out. So we sweat it all out. But it was we were just like I said, you're so in it. You're not even like I probably should have weighed myself before and after. You know what? I'm gonna ask Clark.
Yeah,
Clark's a bodybuilder. Oh, so he probably knows what he lost in that period of time. So I'll go back and see if he still remembers.
That has to be something. That would be something.
Right.
Man, I don't mind having a story just be a story and that's it.
Right.
And I'm always like, they don't gotta make a sequel to this. They don't gotta make it. But when I saw that, I'm like, maybe can they make a sequel to this? Because I kind of want to see them. I want to see a little bit more of this world. Not even in like the sense of a conclusion of that, a sequel to that, but just in that world. It's just like I want to know more about this world because this is different.
There was a lot thrown around. We really got like one of the most difficult things about independent filmmaking is after. Getting it together, people know getting it together is difficult. Everybody knows that. Putting a film together is an incredibly difficult endeavor. Getting the script, getting the people together, getting the crew together, getting all that. It's incredibly difficult to get it together. But then a lot of times what happens is, and things change.
Right.
So much that it's difficult to actually really get it the way you want it to. But after post effects, all the sound, all the lighting, all the things, cutting different things, saying, oh, okay, that shot didn't work, even though we thought it did on the day, all those things. And then you have to put the movie together. So first you have to clean the movie out. Then you have to put the movie together. You have to put the music in. And then you have to find someone to watch the movie.
Right.
And you have to find someone who watched the movie who's willing to sell the movie. So if you don't get in with the right people, or if you get someone who's got bigger promises than they have ability, but you're all locked up in contracts, and if you have disagreements on who should have the film or what you should do with the film, a lot of times people get impatient because you got all this time and energy wrapped up to it, and you just want to get it out in the world. So someone's like, I can get out in the world. You're like, good. And not everybody necessarily agree with it. I don't think that's the best way. Rather sit on it and get a better deal. It's like, no, it needs to go. So
right.
the what happens, but on the hind side of a film is especially a small independent is crucial to what happens moving forward.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a lot.
We did not have a good. Well, the plan we had to be shifted so many times, and there were so many different opinions on what should happen with it.
Right.
The end result was we didn't get the release we wanted, and we didn't get the we didn't get the release we wanted, and we didn't get the penetration that we could have gotten. Had we been a little more circumspect about how we moved afterwards.
It sucks because I've seen so many horrible movies go through and get these big productions or whatnot. And they get to be on the big screen and stuff, and who thought of this? Who did this? And then I see films like Hunter Prey that get shafted sometimes, and it's like, why didn't this get up here? It's this could have competed easily.
Film is such an interesting thing because you can shoot an amazing film, and then have a really bad film cut together. You can shoot a horrible film and have a really good film cut together.
That's true. Yeah.
So and everybody is doing what they think is best for the film.
Right.
And in the perfect world, they align. But that doesn't always happen. So it's just a question of the alignment. Who's got what connections. Who can you get this film to see it? Who a lot of times a film that's not what you think would be what you want to see. It's seen by a person who believes in it, or a person who believes in it is a part of the team.
Right.
Or someone had already invested enough into it that it's like, well, we're there now and we know people will watch it. So we're just going to, we're going to keep it moving. Especially in later days now, we have a lot more individuals who are not filmmakers involved in the business of filmmaking.
Yeah.
We have business people figuring out filmmaking, which can be a great mix if the person has the right energy into film.
Right.
But it can also go very poorly if the person is maximizing the algorithm as opposed to trying to put out a good piece of film.
That's true. I've always Tubi now. Tubi is the big thing now for a lot of independent productions and stuff. Oh, yeah. And I feel like I'm always trying to find another Hunter Prey. Right. Every time I'm hunting for another Hunter Prey, there gotta be a gem in here somewhere. Let me see what they got in here. Let me see what's the premise. Do they got a trailer? Let me see. Let me just.
Have you found anything?
Not really. There's there's some things that has some promise.
Right.
And a lot of people are taking the CGI route with certain effects, and it doesn't quite hit as well because I know they don't have the budget, but yet they trying to do the CGI. It's like it's not there. I know what you're trying to do, but it's not hitting. Maybe if you had done it in prosthetics, maybe, but then you have some that they got prosthetics. It's like maybe if you shot this at night,
right?
Maybe it would probably hit some angles. Maybe could have less is more type of thing. But you have a lot of and then sometimes I laugh because it's supposed to be sometimes a movie's dystopian, apocalyptic, no one's around. Right. But I see a car coming back. A few cars, you see traffic in the back, okay, all right, I see. All right, let me just keep going with this. Let's see how we work with this. We can't, hey, guerrilla movement, we're doing it. But I still haven't found that Hunter Prey as type of movie yet. So right now you guys are still up there for me. It's still no one's got y'all shine yet. No one's taking away. You still up there. Y'all still kings up here for me. So from coming from that, and I remember during watching Avengers and all that stuff, and sometime after I got to see the behind the scenes or whatever. and I saw like, maybe it was a picture. I don't know what it was, but it was behind the scenes work, and I saw just the makeup of Thanos.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how I figured it was you, but it was like the shape of your head,
right?
And I'm like, is that who I think? I think that's my boy. I think that's my boy. I had to look in the credits and try to figure it out, right. And then I'm like, then it really came out like it was you. Like, I knew it. I knew it was him. Dude, how? Like, and knowing that what you could do there is like on Cenrari 7 and like, man, they could have had. They had him right there. I mean, Josh Brolin, great actor. You know, I love he's like royalty type. You know, he's been around for years. But I also know you could have did a great job too. You know,
the proof is in the pudding, and I didn't have the pudding.
Yeah.
You know, they didn't have enough on me to take that bet on me. Then you can't blame someone for being like, we don't have enough on this guy to know that he can do it.
Right.
You know, so. And plus the name gives the project a little more prestige. You know what I mean? You got to think that was still early on when they were making those decisions, so they hadn't become the Marvel Universe. And even now, they're doing less betting on smaller names than they did back then.
Oh yeah, the Marvel Universe right now is so widely different from like the start, in the middle, and everything.
And the original bet, Iron Man, Robert Downey Jr. was a well-known, well-established, incredible performer who was on a downswing, and they were hoping to bring him back up, and they were successful. So even the original bet wasn't as big a leap as all that. They're like, wow, I hope this guy doesn't, hope this guy pulls through.
And they paid him the least. I remember hearing about that. They paid him the least amount.
He did okay though, because he got some points and things like that.
Oh
so
yeah.
He did
the biggest person was Terrence Howard was like the biggest.
Well, he was coming off Hustle and Flow.
Yeah. So yeah. And that was big.
Yeah, so that was huge. And if I recall correctly, he actually helped Robert Downey. He helped with the process of getting Robert Downey.
Yeah.
Like, he was one of the people that's like, yeah, no, go with Robert.
Which is it was a marvelous choice.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. But intended funds.
See, but then I got to see you when I watched Captain America, and then I saw you again, with Crossbow, and I was like, oh shit, my guy. And so I was so happy, I was like, oh, he's in the Marvel shit, right. What's he gonna do? And it was over, and it was like, oh. Okay.
Well, the thing about it though, that scene is, and this is confirmed by the Russo brothers, I didn't die.
Oh.
That was a dart.
Okay.
That was not a bullet. Because remember, it went, not.
But I feel like somebody like your character, like someone like you, can pull off okay, you saw him in this one scene, they can bring him back for something else or create something. You're like, cause you want to facet it with how you work now, and when they get to see what you can do, it's like, oh shit, let's try this character. Like, fuck this. Get the other character, do this other one. Like, give him that. Like, I feel like you would be a really dope Marvel character too. Even if you were in what is it, if they want to bring back something like Luke Cage or something, okay, can he get something? Give him something,
We'll see what happens. I'm developing a lot of my own things because I respect, obviously I have an incredible amount of respect and care for the Marvel Universe, but the Marvel Universe is not portraying what I want to see.
Mm-hmm.
Certain things we haven't seen yet that I still want to see that I'm like, And we've had even very recently we've had some very close things to what I want to see, but nothing's quite pushing over that line. So it's I'll take obviously I'm interested in working with all these different people, but I'm really in a place where I'm like, I'm gonna have to do it.
That's what it always seems to be at the end of the day. If you're not seeing what you want to see on screen, if it's not portraying what you want out there, give it that look, that positivity, that presentation to the folks, you most likely have to do it on your own to make people see, oh, why wasn't we thinking about this before? And speaking on that, what do you want to see, online, on the big screen and stuff?
Well, just we just the full gambit. You know what I mean? I just want to see it all. I want to see the full range of the human experience melanated.
Yes. I'm totally with you.
We haven't seen. Just look at in my career. I've played Thug Number 2, Intergalactic Conqueror.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like it's all over the place, but it's like when it comes to more sustained or repeated viewings or like any kind of momentum, it's building, but it's not quite there.
Right.
Like we blaxploitation was the biggest amount of black films being. We have not seen a modern, and I don't want to say blaxploitation because that's not what I'm looking for.
No.
But we have not seen a modern kind of black film.
Right.
Renaissance. It comes and goes. Not in terms of all the different. Like even blaxploitation was very, very hustler, street mentality. We haven't seen a thing where it's like, and we got people, Michael B. Jordan. We got some people out there that are pushing it.
Yeah.
We got Alex Cross coming out. You know what I mean?
I just saw Rebel Ridge.
Yeah, Rebel Ridge.
That was really good too. I just watched it the other night.
There was a lot I really liked about that film. I think there were a few key things that were missed.
Yep.
That took me out of it.
I can see. Yeah, I had a feeling. I had towards the end, like the third part, I was like, okay, but I get it.
The headphones, the cash, the bike, rural Alabama.
Yeah.
That's a stretch.
Dude, once I saw the bike, as soon as I saw the bike hit, I was like, well, this is it. This is over. Like, in the movie.
There's certain realities that people from different cultures won't necessarily understand, see, or want to engage with. And, incredible performance by Aaron. You know what I mean? That film, like they did so many wonderful things with him in that film.
Yeah.
It could have been set in Northern California. Or Central Coast California.
Right,
or something other than rural Alabama.
Right. Yeah.
It would have played more real.
I think, true. And I thought, I looked at it like, this is like a good part for him starting out, like, he's still young. And I was put onto him with that movie, the M. Night Shyamalan movie. And I was like, why is his name Cadillac Sedan?
Right.
Like, that's a horror. M. Night he doesn't know anything about rap because he just named him after a car. So, but I'm like, okay, he had a presence, and I'm like, okay. Then I see him in this. I'm like, okay, this is like starting point. And in my head, I thought it was gonna be something like a First Blood. It had that S to it, and like the cops are fucking with the ex-military guy, that type of thing. But it went in different ways. And, I was like, hey, you know what? I was like, okay.
He didn't actually kill anyone in First Blood.
No, ever. And that's why I love that movie. I love that first movie. I thought the Rambos and all that, those are cool. But the fact of First Blood, he never touched anybody. It was just like, he had like traps here and there, but never actually touched anybody. And then he had a whole meltdown at the end, which was talking true to what was going on. He had PTSD and everything else. People forget all of that. So I'm glad you said something. But it's just, sometimes I feel like some movies are vehicles for an actor if they're, not that great, but it's more like, hey, check this actor out,
Think about what Hunter Break would have did if we had Netflix at the time.
Bro.
It would have definitely went to Netflix.
You could put that right now. You can do it right now. Like, what was the Keanu Reeves movie that he did like 7-8 years ago that got like put on Netflix, and then everybody was talking about it for like 2-3 months. Right. It was like, it's an old movie, but they talked about it like it was brand new. Yeah. Like it was brand new.
It's all in how you get your penetration to your audience.
Right. So, I look at certain films and stuff, especially like Star Wars, and it's so sad to see how people are just in their own world where they just can't see other, like, it can't be no other colors.
Here's the thing.
In anything.
It's interesting with that is there's several different POVs on that. One thing is you want to feel the way you felt when you watched Star Wars as a kid.
Right.
That's essentially what the problem with Star Wars is. Everyone watching Star Wars now wants to feel the way they did when they were a kid. Unless you're watching like Andor,
right?
or that. That's how you want to feel. So when you were a kid, for the general majority, they saw people that looked like them and people with their aspirations, and like the complexities were less obvious. So it was a pretty linear, easy to follow situation with people who looked like you. So it was kind of comfort food.
Right.
It was a very comfortable, Rebel Ridge is a very comfortable situation to and you and I see that there are things that could have been more true to the experience.
You're right.
But because of the way it was presented, it's going to work better for a general audience.
Right. Yeah, it wasn't too heavy-handed on certain things.
So it's very but it's not even a question of heavy-handed. It's just real. If you just go real, things are different. But it wasn't too. It was comfort food for the people of this person, and even to the point where they even were able to, like, just kind of empathize with the actual circumstances that the other people were in.
Right.
Like what happened. He knew what was going to happen, but the people opposing him did not.
Yes.
So the situation spawned from a place of, listen, we need to be careful because this needs to happen this way because this thing is going to happen. And them going, we don't know who you are. We don't know that we can believe you. We're doing what we do.
Right.
So they were on their path and he was on his. And unfortunately for everybody, they collided. So that kind of thing is easy to digest, easy to feel and go with.
Right.
You can go on that journey. So when you start introducing specifics without allowing people, one of the problems with sci-fi and culture is there's no specific culture in sci-fi that lends itself to the experiences that we have, in the minutia of it all.
Right.
So when you start to introduce those things, the back work you have to do to make those things make sense, either gets blown off, thrown away. You know what I mean? It's difficult to put that in. So you end up with half a story, or not fully understanding the person because they're in a place that you don't know how they got there.
Right.
And then you have people who are uncomfortable going too far into that kind of circumstance, but want to kind of touch on that circumstance. And then you get kind of an incomplete feeling, whereas you're like, like I said, oh, they left all that there. That could have been, if you had gone into that,
right,
it would have been different. And rarely do you have a story that's smooth enough to introduce dynamic aspects without making them disrupt the story.
Right.
You bring in some diversity, you bring in some dynamics, some diversity dynamics, and a lot of times because the story structure is a Euro-dominated Western civilized structure, the predominant narrative does not support that.
True. Okay, true. I get it. And to go what you said earlier about, people watching things from when they grew up and want to kind of keep that feel of it. And I feel like, yes, that's true. And I was talking to a friend of mine not too long ago about this. It's similar. And it's like what they got to see was great and everything. And that's what the everyday life is. We, on the other hand, if you're a minority, black, whatever, you just took what you got, and we accepted every movie or TV show, and don't mind it. And we even like those characters and like, oh, that's my favorite hero, whatever. But we could add to it. What if, though? What if? And then now that you have society now where people are doing the what ifs and we're putting those things out, and it's like, we are still accepting it as minorities. It's like, oh, this is cool. But now it's even better because we see some people that look like us that we can maybe relate a little bit more to. But it's still in our world. We're still in our world of it. But we're just expanding our horizon, expanding our minds a little bit more. Because maybe we could add a little bit of color over here and there, a little greenery over there and stuff. As opposed to some people I wonder where it was. And some people maybe I don't want to say not everybody. I don't think everybody is racist, like people want to put it that way. But I feel like some people are so into what they grew up with and get blindsided in what they're, how they feel and what they're saying, and they're like, oh, why can't it be like this? I wanted to be like how I wanted my childhood.
But exactly. They're trying to rediscover their and that's one of the problems of the remakes and the expanded universes and all these other things. Instead of making newer, different offerings,
right?
You know what I mean? Because nobody felt that way about Black Panther.
Yeah.
Because Black Panther was a self-enclosed world of there's Marvel stuff happening, but it's Black Panther.
Yes.
And you accept that. And if you actually watch it, you go, okay, this is a thing. This is its own entity. It has its own feel and everything like that. And one of the challenges for me being in this industry is that movie made $1 billion.
Yeah.
Why weren't there more movies like that, low budget or whatever, that followed up on that momentum?
That's true. Like you think Hollywood, like, we need more Black Panthers out. We need more.
And there's a desire for empathy, but there isn't a path to it that they have been able to establish that fits the algorithm. I guess I'll say.
Yes.
So it's trying to figure out how do you make something that works for all parties, that makes them comfortable, but at the same time brings new aspects in. And I think that's one way to do it. I think the other way is to just make it and say, here, look at this. And then when the experience proves out, then it's like, oh. But again, like I said, the Black Panther experience proved out, but then they didn't have that, okay, how do we do this with other things?
Right.
There's no algorithm for that. Think about it. Black movies perform surprisingly well. You know what I mean?
They always surprise.
They always do better than they expected all the time, which means the algorithm that they're working off of is not proper for what the productions are.
Right.
They don't have the right algorithm for Black output because they're always like surprising hit. And we're never surprised.
From this Black director.
Right. Yeah. It's
all Black cast.
Surprising numbers. Did better than expected. It's like better than who expected.
Yeah.
If you go back and you look, like there's like almost every successful Black project did surprising numbers.
Yeah.
It's like at some point you got to alter your algorithm so you're no longer surprised.
Yeah. I mean, it's always funny that you have everything, technology and everything else, upgrades and, they expand and the metamorphosis of all these different things to get, to go from A to B and C and all that. But yeah, when it comes to the Black experience a little bit, it's just like, they don't have that algorithm. They
don't have the data set.
Yeah.
The data set has not been developed in such a way that they understand and can consume it in a way that makes them go, oh, okay, this is how we make this happen.
Yeah.
Strangely enough, Tubi might help.
I think it could be.
It's kind of doing a Blaxploitation-ish kind of thing.
Yeah.
Where just get it done.
I would just like one of it to get away from all the stereotypical story.
Well, have you looked into who owns Tubi?
Oh yeah, I know. Yeah. I was kind of hurt when I saw it, and I was like, but then again, I'm not surprised. So I was like, I wasn't surprised, and not for nothing. My mom loves those stories. I'm like, God, Mom, you just helping the situation, ain't you? But hey, whatever.
But it's
I love you, Mama.
Right. Things need to be presented in a way that expands your ability to empathize with things. Empathize. Whew, got there.
Yeah.
And that takes a certain amount of synchronicity with story, with performers, with purpose, with path, with individuals you run into, with all of those things. It takes a real synchronicity for that to happen. And because they don't have the data set for it, they haven't been reproducing it.
Oh man, it's gosh. It's so much going on in these worlds with being a Black person. it's going with the thug stuff, you know, the character she played and stuff and everything. Before we go, GoldFace, bro. He needs his own show. It's like he's gonna have his own show. He's the bad guy, but yet I'm like, he's funny. Like you made him. Like I always wondered, how do henchmen get into these like jobs? Like how do you become a henchman? Why would you become a henchman? And then I see a person like GoldFace was like, they have a book club. Oh, maybe he's not so bad. All right, what's it? Y'all got dental? Like, how's is it a schedule? Like, I want to know because I'm like, I might want to like
season 8. I bought him a first edition Moby Dick.
Yes. Oh my God.
GoldFace is a man of culture.
And then you see how much he loves I'm about to say Katie Sackhoff's character, Eminem Black, and like, but then at the end he realized it was going nowhere at the end, but he still, you saw the man, he has feelings. You brought more to that character than I don't think anybody else would have done, because it's like, yeah, he's the bad guy, he's the villain, he's the gangster, but man, like you put more soul into it, and then you have the comedy with it. It's like, and like I said, you don't like, even though you had makeup on and hunter prey and stuff, just the certain things you can do with your face, like to make you like, oh, he's not so bad. He might shoot my foot, to show like prove a point, but he'll take me to the emergency room though. It just like, now see, now what did we learn? No, what did we learn? All right. Okay, I'm gonna pick you back up later, and we're gonna go tacos, and like I'm like, I think I want to be. I was like, I didn't know how to be a henchman, and now I realize that's how you do it. I want to be his team. I don't care. He might have a good situation going, like he looks like he has a Christmas tree when it's Christmas time. He has the
bonuses, there's presents.
Yes, like he's doing what is it? What is it? The Secret Santas and stuff, and like, it's just in like, oh, a new wrench. Oh my God, thank you.
Joe did say things were smoother when we were in control. He said, remember, Joe said things were smoother when we're in control. I'm saying, just saying, there's a process. There's different levels of society, and they all need to be able to figure out how to coexist.
And then the fate, how your mannerism was when y'all like, when the whole thing was like, oh, Barry is the Flash, and it's like everybody knew that. This is like, right. I'm like, what? This is what I've been talking about. He shows everybody his damn identity too much. Like, what is with this guy? Like, right. I love the Flash, but it got to a point where he was just showing his show who he really is as a person, and he's genuine and he's honest. Let me just take off my whole outfit just so I'm here. Damn that my secret identity, like you risk everything. Like I said, but you brought so much of that character and I loved it. And it was like, damn, I want more of it. And then we got to see more of you, and that's just a testament to your likability, what you brought to the character. How was the film GoldFace? Like, how did you come up with, like, how did it get to you to play this role? Like, how's that?
It was interesting because the description of GoldFace and the writing for GoldFace were very different. Because the description was a little more traditional for what you might expect from a character like that, but the writing, I saw something in the writing that had a more elevated take, and so I went with it. I was like, wait, I can go a different space than I think they would expect, but it's clearly present in the writing. So it was the sides that I had to go with to audition were amazing for me for that. That I could see that I was in the right place at the right time and right mindset to see something different on that page. And in fact, when I performed it on set, when Grant and Hartley saw it for the first time, they were like, they were not expecting that beat. So it was very edifying for me to have that kind of reaction, and because of that, that's why they kept bringing me back. Like, I would have been in season 7 if not for the pandemic.
Yeah, wow.
Me and Katie probably would have been in season 7 if not for the pandemic.
Yeah, I loved her character in that.
Yeah,
She did so well. Like
it was like
another one.
People to work with a sci-fi legend like that, you know?
Jesus, right? And she's another one that could bring so much to a character that would have been just a dull person or whatever. But she could do so. She could like find the little things with it. Like I could tweak this. I could make this my own. You know, and that's
part of that is the environment you're working with. You know, the people behind the scenes, the people that because it's you know, it takes a village to to bring up children. All of us. It takes a small country to make a film. You know, and when you find a place where you can move in a supported method and you feel free, like it's funny. When I talk about performance and actors and things like that, some people are they get a little censorious of actor lifestyles.
Yeah.
But I'm like, the truth of the matter is you want to be as comfortable as possible in your normal life, so when you get on screen you can be as uncomfortable as possible. You can be as open and uncomfortable as possible. So when you're offset, you know what I mean, when you're doing things around the film that are offset, you need to be in a place where you feel safe and protected and just, you know, supported.
Right.
That way, when you go on stage, you can let it all out and not worry about, you know, not worry about falling.
Right.
Because you got the right people around you that won't let you fall. That'll help you get yourself together and move forward through it. You know, a lot of times our most gifted actors, a lot of our, especially in this country, are the most damaged people, but it's because they're not afraid to put themselves out there and fall. They just go.
Right.
You know, and the better your support system around, the more you're able to do that. You know, especially like in stunts. One of the reasons why I always fought women was because a lot of women felt safe fighting.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, there was one specific instance I remember. I'm not going to drop names, but I was working on a film set, and you know there was a character. I was stunt doubling for a character, and there was a female lead, and it became there was a few fights, but then the fights were escalating. There'd be more and more fights between the two characters, and so when they would call out, and they were like, "Okay, we're going to go to the fight," and the actress was like, "I'm fighting Damion, right?" I'm fighting Damion, you know. Because my skill set and the way I moved and the way I worked made them comfortable enough that they felt okay with a 6'4", 240-pound man swinging it,
right,
moving around them and stuff like that. Another incredibly huge compliment I got paid through stunts was I got called to fight. And again, I'm not going to drop names, but I got called to fight an actress while she was pregnant. I stuck for her. Like I got the call and I was busy. And I was like, well, I can come, but I'm doing this, but you need me. And I was like, I can drop you some names. And the coordinator said, oh, no. My actress is pregnant. I need to make sure, I know who I got. And I was like, you call me the pregnant actress. You know what I mean? So it's like, but I want to be that safe as a performer. I want whoever I'm working with to, well, I mean, obviously I'm still performing, but I'm saying as an actor, as an actor in a scene with someone, I want them to feel that safe with me, that they can go all out.
Right.
Because they know I'm there.
Well, that's just what you were saying earlier about the you had certain stunt actors that could just jet ski and horse ride and all these different things.
Right.
And now like you started your expertise. They did like, hey, who can we find to fight this girl? They call you because they know like you're the safe one. The girls will be feeling the women gonna feel comfortable with doing these stunts with. So you're that guy. That's a really huge like.
I was that guy. I haven't been doing those stuff.
I mean, still like being that like you have that reputation, like work wise, like he was, we got this guy now he's pretty good with the girls to help them. But Damion though, he was the best. He was the best. I was not the best. I was just for my size and my movement ability. I was high on a lot of people's list. But still, like I'm saying, for your size, your look, and everything, you were the best at what you were doing. Right. At your craft, you were the best. So it's just like you're the right one to pick that they wanted to go with, that the actress wanted. You were safe. Like to make sure that they didn't have to worry about something going wrong. Too much. Right. Anything could go wrong, but they know the least amount of stuff's going to go wrong if you're around. That's what it is. What type of advice would you give others out there? Like, you know,
right now we're in a climate of commodification. They are not trying to discover anyone. They want to take someone who is established, who has done things, or who has an audience, who has a project that is established and known, and they want to maximize that.
Right.
You know, one of the challenges I face is that everything I'm known for has been someone else's stuff.
Right.
You know, there hasn't really been a whole lot of things that I've done that were me. That I can say this is who Damion is. This is what Damion does. This is Damion's, you know, performance level. This is Damion's audience. You know, getting that thing together. That's what you need. That's why, you know, you have so many TikTok and other social media influencers getting into bigger projects, because they know who this person is and who this person's audience is, and they can easily craft something around that.
Right.
You know?
So it's not that hard.
Like Jeremy Sullier, who has, you know, he's an auteur. You know, he's got his own thing of, this is what I'm doing, and he's got people behind him, so he can pull in Aaron Pierre, and people will go, okay, Aaron, and even Aaron, you know, Underground Railroad, Mufasa, you know, he's got a list of things he's done that made it to a point where he could be taken seriously enough to be considered for the role. Because originally it was John Boyega.
Wow.
And yeah, it was John Boyega was originally on the film, and then he left a couple of weeks in.
Wow.
Yeah,
it's kind of sad to hear like they're not looking for the next. Like that was like the thing back in the day. Like
they are, but you just have to build it yourself.
Okay.
Looking for the next person who has built something that they can commodify in a way.
Because it's just like, it sounds like the same thing that's happening. I guess it's all around now. It's like what's happening, you know, for actors and in the movie stuff and movies, TV, and it's the same stuff that I'm hearing that's happening with the music industry. You know,
but from like, and coming from a person who is in this position, there's so many avenues available. You have no excuse. If you really want to do it, find something that you do that is not in the zeitgeist.
Right.
Find your space, and it's got to be your space. Because again, if you try to follow somebody else's space, you won't get there. Find your space, find your thing, find your voice, put it out there, and you know, keep pushing until you find your audience, and then things will expand. A lot of it is right place, right time, and being prepared for your opportunities. Because I've had big opportunities that I didn't have the behind-the-scenes preparation to properly take advantage of. You know, and it's like, okay, so put yourself in a position of being able to take advantage of those opportunities. There's been at least I can easily see 3 times in my career where I had the opportunity, where if I had the proper, you know, background circumstance, if I had the proper setup, if I had the proper, you know, training, contacts, you know, management team, yada yada. If I had been in the right space, I could have gone.
Interesting.
You know, and some of it was circumstance, but I have to accept a lot of the responsibility for not putting things in the right place so that I could capitalize properly on things.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Now putting yourself out there now and doing your own thing. What are the projects that you're doing right now? Like, cause
I can't really talk about them.
I'm trying to get into details. I'm trying to get some.
I'm working on all levels. I'm working on, you know, I've done a lot of video game stuff. So
yes,
I got some things I'm pushing in that area. I've got short film. I have a very, very strong feeling about like Republic serials, old school short film. I feel like that's where our audience is right now. That's where you're building things. So I have a lot of things that I'm trying to put together in that space. The difficulty there is, once again, there's not an algorithm for it.
Right.
So getting someone to see the process and the potential is a little bit challenging right now. You know, I got some TV stuff. I got some movies. I got it across the board. The trick for me, again, is getting myself prepared. So when the next time somebody says, oh, cool, let me see it, I can go here, as opposed to let me write it, you know, or let me put it together, or let me find it. You know what I mean? It's getting the groundwork done. You know, so get the groundwork done, build your audience, find your voice, and go and push.
Yep. I love that, right? Oh, dude, bro, by the way, before we go, you have a beautiful horse, Sammy.
Thank you.
He is beautiful. Like,
that's my other half, man.
I was like, who has a horse? Now I want a horse. I want one. Like the interaction, I've never seen that before between I have a friend of mine who has a horse herself, but I haven't seen an interaction like that before. Like
it's such a specific
the chemistry.
He's such a specific horse, and I'm such a specific guy. You know what I mean? Once again, it's that opportunity meets preparation. I was when we got together, we were both in the exact right space in our lives to have that like that horse loves me, and I love
but you can tell like the way I've never seen a horse make those type of faces. Like I was at a Ren fair a week ago, and I was looking at the horse, was like, it ain't the same. This is the horse that I say.
He's a very, very special horse. He's such a special dude. You know what I mean? He's such a specific being. You know, and I'm so very thankful and honored that he's in my life. And talk about your team. That was 7 months online every day. My partner was looking for him.
Wow.
Just she was on it. She was just, like I said, 7 months every single day, talking to different people, doing all this stuff, finding the right horse for me.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I didn't know you that much work to try to find the right horse.
Find the right one is not, a lot of people, they have an idea of what they want in terms of, I want this kind of horse, that kind of horse. You got to find your kind of horse.
Wow.
You know, you got to find the one that works for you, and it may not be what you expected. Or you might get lucky and it might be exactly what you like. He's exactly what I wanted when I thought of a horse in my head. Sammy, physically, he's exactly that. Emotionally, he's exactly that. He's not a performance horse.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's very he's just not a very secure animal. And when we started out, I barely knew how to ride. So you got an insecure animal with an insecure rider, and it's like, so we've grown so much.
Oh man,
you know, we got so much growing to do. There's a couple of really experienced horse people at the barn, and they said it takes 7 years to build an Olympic level horse, 14 years to build an Olympic level rider.
I never heard it. That's a good.
So,
wow.
Yeah, I'm only a couple years into my horse journey, so I got a lot of time left before I notably good at the horse thing. And I got the perfect partner, and we're moving along at an accelerated rate. But it's a lot of time, a lot of energy, and a lot of money.
Oh yeah, I bet. Yeah, I bet. But you can just see the chemistry, the relationship between you two. It's like, I don't see that people have with each other. Like, and if you have it with this horse, and it's like, it's a beautiful thing. I've usually seen it with dogs and cats and stuff, but to see with a horse, it's like, you know what? It works. Like,
and I've had pets. It's a different bond because you ride the horse.
Right.
The connection between a rider and a horse is so much different than any other bond. There's a lot of different things where they say, like owning pets. You don't understand until you've owned a dog. You don't understand, like, it's the same kind of thing. They say it about kids too. It's the same kind of thing. You do not understand the link you can get with a horse until you own a horse. Not when you're riding a horse that's at a ranch you go to or things like that. When it's your horse, your responsibility, you have to make sure everything's taken care of for that horse.
Right.
If you're lucky like me, you have a partner that has a lot more knowledge than you that can keep you on track. But when it's your responsibility and that animal's looking to you for everything, and then you get on its back and you're looking to it to not toss you off or not freak out and to keep you guys alive and safe.
Right.
Remember, trauma builds bonds.
Trauma bonding, yes. It's true.
You're gonna go through it with a horse.
But it's all worked at the end. It's all
100%, man.
It's a beautiful connection, brother. It was a beautiful connection. Man, I would like to say thank you so much, man. Thank you for your time.
Patience, man. You just stay with me on this, and I can't tell you how much I appreciate that.
Man, like I said, you're one of my favorites, man. It's just like I learned a long time ago about being patient and stuff, and my grandmother told me a long time ago. So it's like, it's gonna happen. I'm waiting for him when it's time for him, when he has the right time. I'm gonna be ready. You know, that's how I feel. So it's like, you know, I just checked out what's the weather today. What weather's all right. Me try to hit him up to see if how we doing this time. You know, I just want to make sure it was comfortable for you and you know, so you know you had some time out, whatever, and we got it, and you know, and it is beautiful, and I thank you so much for being on the show. Like this is a highlight right now. This is, you know, dream come true, because I've been talking about this for the longest. So first it's like, man, I can't wait till I get the chance to talk to him, you know, to get this out. He was like, when I started this show, you were already on the list. Like you were in the top 10 of people. Like, I don't know when I'm gonna do it. I don't know when, but it's gonna happen. So it's like, I had to have you on, man. Like Hunter Prey, and like all your work and stuff. Hunter Prey is one of my favorites. Like one of my and like I said, I loved your work in that. And you know, so this has been a real thing for me right now. So like after we get done, I'm cool right now. But when we check this off, I'm gonna let everybody know. When we check this camera off, y'all, I'm gonna freak the hell out. I'm gonna freak the fuck out. Like I'm just gonna let y'all know. I want to like have like, you know, I don't know what I'm gonna do, but it's gonna be a jump around situation. Like I'm gonna have that moment. But I'm cool right now. I'm cool right now. But you know, I'm about to call a few people like, you will never believe. Like this has been a true thing, and you know, especially like I said, watching you on the Flash, and Flash is something personal for me because it was a show that me and my aunt watched on a regular basis before she passed, and we always talked about the show, and she loved your character as well, and she thought you were funny, and so it was just a thing. Just I had to had to talk to you. So I appreciate you so much. Can you, if you want to let people know where they can find you anywhere, like
everything except TikTok, it's Damion Poitier. TikTok is Damion.Poitier because somebody else got it before I did. But everywhere else, Damion Poitier. That's Instagram, Twitter, X, Twitter. Even I got a Facebook page. I'm on Threads, Blue Sky. Okay. I'm on Reddit. I'm on Tumblr. You know, I'm everywhere. So, but like, everywhere except for Twitter, it's Damion Poitier, and Twitter, it's Damion.Poitier.
Okay, got you, man. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. This is Damion Poitier, like the man, the myth, the legend, the man himself. I can't. There's so much I can say, but the man himself is here, and I thank you so much again for being on the show, guys. You know where we can find me here and social networks and all that good stuff. Links description below, and however you digesting this, either visually or audio wise. Thank you for listening and watching. This is Dom. I'm Dom. This is Damion Poitier. This is the BearatNight podcast. We talk to you later. See you next week. Peace.
Take care.
Listening to BearatNight podcast with your host, Jurassic Parker.